The Babysitter's Club. Kristy's Great Idea. Chapter 7. On Wednesday afternoon, I was all set for my first job through the Babysitter's Club. I couldn't wait to meet Pinky and Buffy. I'd never sat for twins before. I wondered what it would be like. Would they play tricks on me? And what could Pinky and Buffy be nicknames for? I'd find out soon enough. I walked over to Quentin Court right after I got home from school. I left a little early just in case I had any trouble finding the McKeever's house. Mrs. McKeever had said the address was 52 Quentin Court, so I found the side of the street with the even-numbered addresses on it and started walking. There was 22 Quentin Court, 28 Quentin Court, 34, 40, 46, and sure enough, 52. I stood and looked out the house for a moment. It was a perfectly nice split-level, painted white with neat black shutters. But something was wrong. What was it? After a moment it came to me. There were no signs of children. There were no toys in the yard or tricycles in the driveway, no sneakers on the front stoop or artwork in the windows. I hoped Pinky and Buffy weren't going to be boring children who wanted to spend the afternoon learning about butterflies or food groups or something. My enthusiasm was beginning to wane just a little, but I took a deep breath and marched myself straight to the front door. Ding dong. Silence. No running feet or shouts like I would hear when I rang the Newlands bell. After a few moments, the door was opened. A plump, pleasant-looking young woman stood on the other side of the screen, smiling. Well, I thought, at least Pinky and Buffy's mother doesn't look too boring. Hello, she said. Hi, I'm Kristy Thomas. I'm here to babysit for Pinky and Buffy, the twins. There was a pause, and then the woman said, Yes, won't you come in? I stepped inside into a very pretty room, but again something seemed wrong, and it took me a moment to figure out what it was. Then I realized Pinky and Buffy must have been not only very boring 3-year-olds, but very careful 3-year-olds. The reason the room was so pretty was because it was full of glass and china, big oriental vases, little glass statues, even plates that were displayed on delicate stands. Everything was breakable. In our house, what with David Michael and footballs and baseballs and friends coming over all the time, breakable stuff is practically against the law. Then I saw that the area we were standing in, the foyer and the laundry room, was blocked off with baby gates. That explained the china, but it didn't seem to be very nice for Pinky and Buffy. It also occurred to me that I couldn't hear any children's voices or giggling. Suddenly, I began to feel suspicious. What had I gotten myself into? The McKeevers were strangers to me. Maybe I'd been lured into. No, that's silly. At breakfast that morning, when I told my mother where I would be after school, she just raised an eyebrow. She hadn't said, Don't go, Kristy, we'll never see you again. I smiled brightly at the woman. So, I said, where are Pinky and Buffy? Oh, they're in the laundry room, she replied. The laundry room? Were they being punished? I'd gotten angry with David Michael a few times, but I'd never stuck him in the laundry room. Let me introduce myself, the woman went on. I am Miss Hargreaves, Mrs. McKeever's niece. Mrs. McKeever is away for several days, which is why we need help with Pinky and Buffy. I have an important appointment this afternoon, and we find that we need someone with Pinky and Buffy at all times. Well, they were only 3. What was she expecting? They're a bit unruly, Miss Hargreaves said. Oh, I said knowingly, wondering where the signs of unruliness were in the quiet house. Well, that's okay. I know all about unruly. I've got 3 brothers. Do you? I nodded. Well, let's go get them out of the laundry room. They're probably ready to play. Maybe we could all take a walk to the brook. That would be lovely, replied Mrs. Hargreaves, but it might be difficult for you to manage. Oh, I've had lots of experience. That's fine then. Are Pinky and Buffy boys or girls? I asked. Well, it doesn't much matter, of course. It doesn't, but Buffy's a boy and Pinky's a girl. Well, that's easy to remember, I said. I was trying to sound pleasant, but already I had a very bad case of the creeps. Here we are, Miss Hargreaves announced. We were standing by a door next to the kitchen. Now get ready. These 2 monsters of my aunts will practically break the door down, she said affectionately. My eyes widened. They will? Stand back. I stood back. I wished I could stand all the way back at my house. Miss Hargreaves opened the door. Two huge, fluffy, drooling, barking St. Bernards hurled themselves into the hall, almost knocking each other and Miss Hargreaves over. I shrieked, "Do I have to take care of them too?" "Too?" repeated Miss Hargreaves. "Who else is going to help you?" "No, I mean, do I have to watch them plus Pinky and Buffy?" "Oh, my dear, these are Pinky and Buffy." But, I sputtered, "I'm a babysitter, not a dog sitter." Miss Hargreaves looked confused. "I don't know what arrangements my aunt made," she said at last, "but here are the dogs and here you are, and I have to leave." But, oh, it's not so difficult," she went on. "They need to be outside as much as possible. Our yard isn't fenced in, so you may either take them back out on their leashes or stay with them in the backyard. If you play with them, they won't run away. Now, the footballs are in the box by the back door. Their leashes are hanging on the peg above, and at 4:30 they need their chow, a can apiece, and they can each have one mailman cookie as a treat. Then emergency numbers are posted by the phone in the kitchen just in case. Do you have any questions?" I shook my head dazedly. Buffy and Pinky leaped around, galloping after Mrs. Hargreaves as she put on their coat and went out to meet the cab and that had come to pick her up. Shaking, I let the dogs out in the backyard, remembering to bring their footballs. I tossed a red football gingerly toward them as they ran ahead of me. I wasn't sure what they'd do with it. Louie always runs half-heartedly after a football and then sort of forgets to fetch it. Not those two. They dove for the ball, crashing into each other. One of them got it away from the other, and I couldn't tell which one. They looked identical. I got down on my knees and clapped my hands. "Okay, boy, bring it here," I called, not caring whether the dog was Pinky or Buffy. Whichever one it was came barreling straight towards me. I knew that game all right. Louis likes it too. He runs for you, then turns at the last second and veers around you. You can almost see him grinning. But not this dog. He ran right over me. I was lost in a whirl of fur and claws and playful woofs. You really haven't lived until a dog has stepped on your face. I sat up and rubbed my cheeks and eyes. Nothing seemed to be bleeding. So I stood up shakily. I looked around. Oh no, the dogs were gone. I thought Mrs. Hargreaves had said they would stay in the yard with me. Maybe they didn't stay with people they'd practically knocked unconscious. "Pinky," I shouted, "Buffy!" Nothing. "Pinky! Buffy!" I ran to the front of the house. No dogs. I looked up and down the street. No dogs. I ran to the backyard and looked again, and there they were. Not in the McKeever's yard, but the yard next door. They were racing towards me, heading for a clothesline. "Pinky! Buffy! No!" Too late. They streaked across through all the clothes and came to a screeching halt about 2 feet from me. One was wearing a small blanket draped over her tail. The other had a slip in her mouth. "Bad dogs!" I cried. "Sit, sit!" I took the blanket and the slip from them and glanced nervously at the house next door. It seemed pretty quiet. Maybe no one was home. Thank goodness the clothesline seemed okay except for the missing blanketed slip. I wanted to return the things, but what about Pinky and Buffy? If I went to the other yard, would they follow me? Would they run away? I didn't know what to do. I almost didn't care, but just then a car pulled in the driveway of the house. Luckily, the driveway was on the other side of the house from where I was, but I knew I'd better do something fast. Someone could come out at any moment to bring in the laundry. "Okay, you guys," said to the dogs. "Look, here are your footballs," I began, walking slowly backward from the clothesline. The dogs crept after me as they were stalking the balls. I reached the clothesline. The dogs were still following me. "Come on," I whispered tantalizingly. I held the balls under one arm, pinned the blanket and the slip crookedly to the line, and raced back to the McKeever's yard at top speed. The dogs ran after me. They liked that game. Good for them. They could follow me all the way into the house, which was just what they did, and just where I wanted them. We stayed inside for the rest of the afternoon, since I didn't trust the dogs outdoors anymore, even on their leashes. I watched TV. The dogs chewed on their footballs. Any time they started to get ratty, I just held open the door to the laundry room and they calmed down. By the time Miss Hargreaves returned, I had decided something important. The members of the Babysitters Club should keep a notebook. Each time one of us finished a job, we should write it up in the notebook and the others should read about it. That way, we could learn about each other's experiences. With a little luck, we wouldn't make any mistake. We would make any mistake more than once. For instance, no more dog sitting. I ran home, eager to start the notebook. My first Babysitters Club job was finally over.